She's a fashion blogger, model, and entrepreneur.
She's amazing.
The latest tips on fashion, beauty, wellness, travel, and her lifestyle. And now, here's the founder and creator of Not Basic Blonde, Olasha.
Hi, Jennifer. So nice to have you on my podcast. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for being my guest. Nice to meet you as well. And of course, we would love to know about you and how did you start your career and what inspired you?
I was a model agent for 20 years. I started off as a model agent in the late 90s in San Francisco. I moved to Los Angeles in 2005. I was at Next Models. And in 2008, and by the way, I love modeling. I thought it was the most fun, and I got to travel and I got to see the world, and it was just really fun, exciting time. In 2008, I was sent one of the very first fashion bloggers to me by a photographer. Her name is Rumi Neely, and she had a blog called Fashion Toast. And she was getting sent clothing, and she was wearing the clothes, and she was shooting and putting it onto the photos onto her blog and then linking out to the product. And the product was selling out. And so she knew that she had something that was potentially valuable because the brands kept sending her more product to shoot and to continue doing this. And so I knew, like, when Urban Outfitters and Pixie Market and all these guys were sending her product, that they paid money for a day rate for models, and I was booking those girls. So it was $5,000 a day for a model. Why don't we just put that rate to what Rumi was doing? And so I started talking to the brands on Rumi's behalf and putting an actual financial value to what she was doing, and they started paying for her to be able to shoot for them. So we were doing this for years. It started in 2008. I did the very first Revolve contract Rumi was their first influencer. I did that contract, and then I had all of the international fashion bloggers at the time come to me. So Chiara Ferrani from Blonde Salad, Christina Bazan from Kacher, Gala Gonzalez, Sincerely Jules, all of these girls that were doing something similar to what Rumi was doing. And for me, it was really exciting. I mean, I was still, running the women's board at Next Models. And so I was handling the models still. But these girls were starting to, one, take up a lot of time, but two, start to make some significant money for the agency. And so over the years, we started at the special bookings division, which was just a place to put all these digitally native talent. In Los Angeles, we started the division, and then New York, and then London, Paris, and Milan. And so I was working with a lot of these global talent, and it was thrillingly disruptive. They were sitting front row at the fashion shows, and the editors were wondering why they were sitting next to this sort of talent. And so it started getting a lot of press and clearly turned into a thing. So we went from, fashion bloggers to, when we had Instagram, then they added Instagram, and then obviously TikTok and so forth. And then they became creators. And so in 2017, I left Next and I started my own agency, and that's what I'm doing. It's Jennifer Powell Inc. And so that's what I'm doing now. And my goal was to be able to start an agency. It really no longer worked at a modeling agency, and I was doing a lot of licensing. I was doing big collaborations, and that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into product and be able to be creative and figure out paths of business with these women and men, and not really just do a transactional sort of, business structure anymore. It wasn't just about brand to talent. It was about how do we make something bigger and be more creative. And so that's what we're doing now. And it's really been quite a journey. I've learned a lot.
Wow, that's amazing because it's hard for creators to find agent and to find someone to actually work with because not everyone even knows that they need one.
That's
And
right.
They don't even know how to get to the next level. Well,
Right.
I had to do a lot of hard work myself to do that and to, reach out to brands. And of course, many brands reach out to me too, like
Yeah.
YSL and Balmain and others.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to work with them. But for other creators, it's really hard because they don't know where to start. And besides just posting, they don't know how to get on like public figure and celebrity level.
That's right. And really, it takes a team and it takes support. And I tell creators to like, who are your favorite businesses, right? Not just your favorite creators to follow, but who are the creators with the businesses you most admire, you most want to model yours behind, and see who is behind the scenes, perhaps, like who their agents are, and maybe make that as like a North Star goal to be able to create or at least find somebody similar to that to try to get there because it really is. There's no or there was no blueprint before in how to do this. And so everybody was kind of bumbling around and trying to figure it out on their own. I think that you did it right. Like you obviously knew that you could reach out to brands in your DMs and things like that. And I think that's a good first step. And in addition to that, I think having a great affiliate business is a great place to start too by working with the LTKs or the ShopMys of the world. I think it gives you a really good revenue stream if you start working there. And then there's a lot of learnings that come along with that. And then slowly you're able to do brand partnerships, and then you're able to figure out how you sell. And there's a lot of learnings over the years, but also somebody called me like a 20-year overnight success because this was like literally there's no overnight success necessarily. There's years and years of figuring things out and tinkering with things and making mistakes too, right? And maybe things do work and things don't, but you learn what does work by learning also what absolutely does not, what you could leave behind.
So true. And for creators to get on the next level, what do you suggest? What is the best strategy?
So I think at the very beginning, finding your niche and your finding your niche is basically what interests you. And you're posting, I think the consistency of posting every day is necessary. And then you find out what people are responding to, right? And then I really do believe that your affiliate business is your first step in scaling. And I believe you have to have 5,000 Instagram followers and perhaps TikTok as well to be able to apply to work with the affiliate companies, as I mentioned, the LTKs and the ShopMys. And then from there, you start doing brand deals. And brand deals, you can reach out and start pitching yourself, as you mentioned, in DMs. You can also receive these deals through some of the platforms I mentioned. But really that's how it starts in the beginning. And then you start getting a little bit of money to be able to pay. I think in this phase, it is imperative to be consistent, to handle your timelines, to be professional, to come in as a partner and understand that the brands are they're trying to sell, they're trying to do something, and you're coming in as a partner and a facilitator of telling their story to be able to get to that point. So asking the brands or the agencies representing the brands, what is your goal of your campaign? How can I help you get there is going to be super important, and to understand that you're providing a service for them and they have a lot of options at this point, right? So you're going to want to be able to stay on target with the campaign brief and the dates of when things need to go live and such. And then when you're ready, as mentioned before, I think you really need to figure out where the goal is and have a North Star goal of where you're going and where you want to take this business. And then look out there and see what other people are doing and start reaching out to agents. I usually tell talent like they don't need me until they literally need me every day, like the wheels are coming off, sort of needing me. And by needing me, I mean me and my whole team, because we're going to come in and throw gasoline on whatever you're doing. And then you're really going to, explode the amount of work and the amount of deals. And to be able to get to that point, I think you need to have a really thoughtful initial infrastructure. Bring on an intern or an assistant, or a brand manager. By that time, you should probably have an idea of an accountant, of maybe you have somebody on contract that you can bring in as an attorney, somebody to bounce things off. You should have definitely been incorporated in terms of a business, like what your business looks like. So there's those sorts of foundational business moves that you need to have before you go to that next phase. Um, and then after that, it's about getting into product if that's what you want to do. And that's where I really have fun, is to try to figure out how talent sells and then figure out like their path to getting into product. And not everybody wants to do that, and that's cool too. But like, what is the long-term like business goal? And use the foundation of your very engaged audience to be able to get there. Like, I think the social media following is the foundation of everything. It's going to be the foundation of if you want like a content or media business. It's going to be the foundation if you want a product business, if you want a podcast business, like whatever you do, like you need to have a foundation of that. Um, so yeah, there's like the different steps. And by the way, like the goal can change. It absolutely can change, but knowing where you're going helps figure out the team that you need to build to be able to get there, you know. And in addition to that, and what I saw you do as well is like you need to have a website, I think. Everybody should have a website because God forbid something happened to TikTok or Instagram or whatever happens, you need to have something that is owned on the internet that is yours. Even if you don't post every day or whatever, I think that there needs to be a home for all of it. And I know that Substack has become like a place for a lot of people to have that sort of presence and have a newsletter and stuff. And they're great, but they're also another platform that you do not own. So I think you need to have a website to just house everything that is connected to your brand or business. And I'm also a fan of like multiple revenue streams. So to try to figure out what those are, you have a affiliate business, like you have your content business, you have potentially product. So everything could have a hub in your website. And I know it's old school, but I absolutely believe that.
So true. I love your advice. And I did start with a blog, just like posting
There
every
you
blog.
go.
And I started posting on Instagram, like you mentioned, consistency is a key. It's 100% because
Yeah.
I started posting 3 times a day. And that's when I started getting noticed by brands. And that's how I grew.
Voila.
Yeah.
Yeah, like things change, the algorithms change, the platforms change, but I think
Yeah.
consistency does not. And you see that people that continue posting, they are rewarded in some sort of like follower growth. And there's just it's easier to find you if you're posting 3 times a day and or if you're boosting content or things like that as well.
Well, I don't post 3 times a day anymore, but I post like, every other
You don't need
day.
to.
Like, because like, when you build your following, you're already known and you don't have to post as much,
That's
but
right.
it's still, when you're just starting out, definitely have to post a lot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It's as far as licensing, what do you think creators need to know about licensing their IP and how to turn ideas into profitable long-term goals? I mean, we kind of
Okay.
touched based on it, but as far as like licensing, we haven't.
Yeah. So I think licensing's very misunderstood, and it's one of the things that I'm most excited about. I mean, licensing really just means when somebody uses somebody else's IP on their own brand. So you could say that when you're shooting product for somebody else's brand and then letting them use your imagery, they're licensing it from you, right? So that's where it kind of starts. So the brands, there a lot of times when you see brand partnership contracts, there's conversation about licensing. Like they're licensing your imagery for X amount of time, and you know exactly where your image is going to be, where it's going to be run. It's going to be on their social media, their website, etc. So as your business grows and you figure out what you sell, and say you have an amazing like partnership with Joe's Jeans, and then you say, all right, guys, we linked out to the product, and the product that I was supporting of yours sold out. Why don't we now do a capsule collection? And so then you understand and they understand how you sell, and they might take a chance on working with you on a capsule collection. And that means that you're either designing with them, with their designer, or you're doing something together. You're creating product that's co-branded. And so that's a form of a license. So you know that when you see, gosh, what's one of the ones that I did? I did Splendid and Mary Lawlessly. And Mary came in and she designed, 35 pieces for Splendid, and the contract around it is considered a license. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to put together all the data that you have from your affiliate business, your brand partnerships, like what you're learning from your brand partnerships, and you can put together a pretty compelling conversation about why you guys should be doing, a collaboration together. After you do a couple of these and you understand how you sell, and not just who your follower is, but who your customer is, because a lot of times there's a difference here, then you can understand maybe what product you want to get into eventually on your own. So I have a lot of talent that comes to me and they're like, I sell jewelry at this price point and it's maybe I should start a jewelry business. And that gives you, when you have the data around how you sell, that gives you an idea of the direction that you should go in with your very own product. Because a lot of creators, they want to get, that's like their next step. They want to have a brand of their own. They want to be, they want to be not just selling other people's goods, but they want to sell their own. And there's so much to learn around that. And a lot of times, content creators should just be content creators. Like maybe they're not operators, or, you know, maybe they don't know how to raise money, and maybe they shouldn't be spending $500,000 to go and do research and development and try to figure out how to make the best denim. So you have to find partners that know how to do this. And so licensing is finding those partners and saying, I have this very, very rich, dense IP, and I want to make product, and I have all of this data behind how I sell. And do you want to come along as a partner and, create the denim or create whatever it is with me? Um, and so that's what licensing is. So you can license your brand to, creators of apparel or jewelry or footwear or whatever, and not have to be the one that's doing the manufacturing, because it's hard and it's expensive. And there's people out there that are professionals at this and they want to do this for very, very strong IP. Let me give you an example. So, say Paris Hilton, right? She has a very, very developed licensing business. Like she has pots and pans at Walmart. Paris Hilton is not going out making her very own pots and pans at Walmart. She has a team that looks at her brand and creates the right product for her and then gets distribution into Walmart. Does that make sense? Kind of?
Totally makes sense, of course. And I get reached out all the time with this kind of deals, but also they offering like 30% from sales or like sometimes 50%. But my kind of dilemma with it is they have a product, but their weakest part is marketing,
That's
and
right.
marketing is the key to sell that product. So without me, their product doesn't mean anything, and they offering me percentage. I feel like when you're doing this kind of licensing, there has to be some kind of base rate, because when I would have to go in and create the content and actually blow up their brand, I will need production costs, and
That's
production
right.
costs is a lot usually to produce a lot of content to blow up the product. And they never, most of the brands don't understand that. When they reach out, they're like, oh no, we don't have any base rate. We don't have anything. It's just a straight up commission, whatever you will sell. So you don't have to deal with manufacturing, but you would have to, spend your own, I guess, money for creating content and production.
That's right. And that is not the right business structure for
Yeah.
a lot of people, right?
Hmm.
Because also it takes so long to get product to market. So, say right
Yeah.
now we're designing into fall for apparel. If that is your structure, like you won't even get paid on sales for probably until sometime at the beginning of 2027, right? Because if you get onto market next September for fall, and then you get paid at the end of the quarter after it has a quarter of sales or whatever, and all of the sales get actualized, you won't even get paid until January of 2027. So for me, that is not the right structure for most talent. And at this point, you're able to do a couple things. One, you're able to ask for like a design fee, which would include your time in spending with the designer to design the right product, potentially I usually try to, put together a nice production fee for you to shoot your campaign, and everything. And that would come up front that you wouldn't have to, it wouldn't go against sales, right? So you should have a design fee and then the royalty on sales. Now, sometimes the partners don't really buy into that design fee part of it, and they're like, we're designing, and not only designing, but we're getting you into the retailers. So we have an exclusive with Walmart or Nordstrom or whoever it is. And so that's what our value is. And so then they will give you a guarantee up front. And the guarantee is against sales, but at least it's something up front that you're going to make, a minimum of $100,000, and you're going to see 50,000 of it up front. So there's ways of making it feel better than that. That feels very one-sided, right? And for you to take a project on right now that might not hit the market until September of 2026, and you might not even get paid until January of 2027, it's just not possible, right? Like it's a lot of work that you're not going to see the fruit of until then. And so you really should have some sort of guarantee in the beginning as well, on because your partner should be able to tell you what like the first run of units are going to be. There's some projections that you can make. So it's not right. And I understand why you haven't taken those deals. That doesn't feel like right for the sort of work that you need to do and that you need to put into it. And I think that the teams are starting to get better and a bit more sophisticated in why they're working with digitally native creators with very, very dense, valuable IP. So I'm seeing these deals start to change. So maybe we could come up with something for you. I don't know, in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I hope that they will understand the structure, but I love how you explain the whole thing, how it should work. Yeah, and I hope many brands will actually understand this.
Same. I hope so too. It's very old school. And in addition to that, we're struggling with tariffs, right? So
Mhm.
they're very risk averse at this point. What people want to do is bring on talent that they know is going to be a home run in terms of sales, that they're going to be able to get their return on investment. So everybody has to win in this one. And it is risky, and it's risky on both sides, right? So it has to feel right.
Yeah, and also I get like kind of shocked when brands still reach out and have nerve to say, we will send you product. I was like, seriously? Did you look at any information to who you sending this to? I mean, I understand. And I feel like creators are used by brands a lot nowadays because many creators still accept free deals, like just
Right.
product exchange, which they
Yeah.
should not. They should charge anyway, no matter what, like just a little bit, even though they're just starting out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did that at the beginning, very beginning when I was starting out, but once I hit certain follower count, I stopped. And also, it's just not right for brands not to offer anything but the product
Yeah.
because, yeah, I understand product is, but creators, it's a new industry which is kind of doesn't have many rules and regulations as it
Yeah.
should because we kind of created our own rules and went by it because, creator industry started when like 2012, 14, when Instagram started. I mean, before that, of course, but still, like so many brands don't understand that creators do that full time. That's their
That's
main
right.
stream of income,
Yeah.
and they have to get paid for the work they produce and their time.
That's right. I mean, you can't pay your rent in jeans. Like it
Exactly.
doesn't work, or
Or
bags.
makeup. Like I get so much product sent out to me and I don't know what to do with all of it. Like I give it out to everybody, anybody I see and know, but still even that, like I have like so much of it. Like what am I gonna do with it?
That's right. And also there's an element of it being wasteful too. Like, can we control that a little bit? There's talent that we represent at this point that just won't take certain, like no more will they take gifting. I understand though, because on the brand side, and I have a marketing agency as well, and on the brand side, it's like what are your what are your options, right? It's not getting placed in like yes, there is editorial placements in like magazines or on media channels, but some of the most potent marketing, campaigns are through influencers, and that's part of their marketing. So this is like all part of it. So it's very hard when people start taking things just for product. And now, since this is like a viable career, there's all these young people that are maybe going to college and they're in their sororities and their parents are paying for their lifestyle so they can take product and they can post it for free. And they're not trying to pay for their livelihood quite yet. My hope is that when they graduate and get into their own, like, then people will, or if they get really good, like if they start getting agents young, then they'll have like a good idea of the business that they can build. But at the beginning, it's just like fun, like cool. We've got, you know, beauty products coming to our home, and that's really exciting. But it does kind of put a wrench in the negotiations that we're having. Or say they used to do things for free and now the creator doesn't want to do things for free. They want to get paid. And that conversation with a brand is really hard too. It's like, no, we're not doing that anymore for free. Now you have to pay me $2,500, 5 grand. They're like, what? Why? So you really do need somebody to talk on your behalf. And you know what a lot of the girls do at the beginning, or guys and girls do at the beginning, is that they start emails that are like fake names as their assistant that are now negotiating for them. And so it's so funny. Like a lot of them at the beginning come to me and they're like, so my assistant is Darla. Darla's been like negotiating for me. And I'm like, all right, well done. They are taking themselves out of the negotiation by making up like a fake name and having her negotiate for them. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I've heard those stories all the time, and I know many creators do that because when you're reaching out on your behalf, they likely listen to you more and kind of react differently.
Yeah,
It's like comparing to you just reaching out by yourself about
that's right.
yourself. I guess we can multiple streams of income. What do you think practical ways to diversify income beyond deals so your business thrives no matter doesn't depending, I mean, not depending on algorithm.
Yeah. So there's platforms that we know pay creators. So like the YouTubes of the world, TikTok when you're on a certain level, Snapchat does for ads. Um, and so to be able to have that as like a very foundational form of income, then the affiliates, that is its own revenue stream, and that could be extremely lucrative. So if you can sell product and use your affiliates to be able to do that, and using affiliates, meaning using it in your social media, so linking out on your Instagram stories, they also link to TikTok. But in addition to that, linking out on your newsletters, your Substack, your blog, wherever you can have links, your Pinterest. Pinterest is really making a moment. Like they're trying to get people using that platform with their own affiliate. So being able to have a very meaningful affiliate business is really important. I know selling doesn't feel very sexy, and that was at the beginning. We were selling image. I was working at Next Models, I had no data around anything. I'm not going to say that I did at the beginning. We had no data because we had no ability to track it. So I was selling the image, and I found out very quickly that even if you have 7 million followers on Instagram. It does not mean that you can sell product. There's association and brand awareness that it creates, but it does not mean that you can convert into sales. So knowing how you sell gives you power. It gives you power with the brands. It gives you power with knowing if you should potentially get into product down the line. It gives you a lot of information. And when sales are tough right now, brands are wanting to partner with creators that can sell. So to figure out an elegant way of doing that in your own way is imperative right now. And then so you have like platforms that are paying you, you have affiliates that are paying you, then you can get into brand partnerships. And those are the ones where the brands come and pay you to do your posts. And then really it is getting into product and figuring that part of your business out. And being able to collect a royalty on sales every quarter is really lovely. Like it's so nice because having product in the world also validates your business and validates you in being somebody that can sell. And let me give the example of a really cool project I did years ago. I represent Sincerely Jules, and I have for like, I think 14 years. At the very beginning, we were doing a partnership with Billabong, the surf brand from Southern California. And we did a really great social campaign where she, just posted. It was a brand campaign. And it really did well in terms of engagement, in terms of sales. It did great. So cut to a couple seasons down the line, and they gave her the new season of clothes, and they sent her and her husband to Tahiti. She shot the whole campaign where she was like the model of the campaign. She came back and delivered the assets, and she was like the campaign star of that season. And she shot all of the content. So really she shot a lot of she gave them all the assets that they needed to market that season. And so then Billabong also had a great PR opportunity to talk about Julie and how she shot the campaign. And then based on the success of that, we ended up getting into a capsule collection, which was Billabong X Sincerely Jules. And we did, I think, 50 pieces. And we sold in North and South America, APAC, and Europe. And so it was big, and it went into their retail stores, it went into D2C, and then we had a retail partner that first season, which was Nordstrom in the US, but we also got into Selfridges in London, and then we got into Galeries Lafayette in Paris. And we did like this great whole like PR and press tour for her to talk about it. And we had tons of success, and it was really interesting for me to see the life cycle of where a relationship can start and then develop into, and then, turn into like these massive successful product partnerships. And for us, in addition to being able to have like this great big PR moment, we learned from it. We learned who her customer was and what price point they wanted to buy product from her at. And she got press all over the world for that. So it was a real learning. And most of these things are like when you're doing something first, or when you have new ideas and you're pitching it to brands, like there's some learnings and there's a learning curve, but that one was a great success. And so it taught me that you can be bold and pitch, oh, well, even if it's just one piece of something. Like we had such a great, I don't know, like jewelry campaign with whoever, like let's do one piece of jewelry. It doesn't have to be a million pieces. It could be really a tight capsule that makes sense, that's fun for everybody to be able to get behind. And based on the success of that, you can also do more always. And maybe then you take the success in a jewelry capsule collection and say, okay, I want to do my own now. So it's really about just following what feels right and what you see people responding to, and making great relationships. I think that's the basis of everything. And truly, it's been the basis of my entire career is is making sure that everybody feels like they've won. Like the brand feels like they've won, the agency that's representing the brand feels like they've won, and the creator feels like they've won. That's when you have the best partnership. Like you could go in hard and ask for a lot of money and, you know, flex and try to get the deal done, and you might get a first deal done, but are they going to want to work with you again? Maybe not, because it was unpleasant and because there's lots of options at this point. There's so many creators coming up, and so I think that the goal is to have a very long, fruitful career, like of most people that I come into contact with and I represent, and they want to build businesses and stuff. And that's I think that's the bottom line of how I've found success. And at this point, all of the other owners of agencies are my friends, and I'm literally cheering them on and hope the best for them. And we talk and we support each other as founders in a lot of ways. So I think that also some healthy competitiveness between people is great, but also there's room. There's room for all of us, and there's constantly new platforms being launched and new niches. And I think like what Scout and her podcast agency what she's done with that is brilliant. And I love like working with her in like that vein of things. And so I think also that it looks like there is no rules, but there are some at this point too, and the way that we're trying to represent talent in a way that's very traditional and thoughtful, but at the same time, there's room for new ideas. So like, let's pitch some crazy things. Like I've represented the creator of an avatar since 2018. He created the very first AI supermodel. Her name is Shudu, and his name is Cameron, and he has the digitals, and he's located in the UK. And really, for me, there wasn't a business around this before. And it was creative, and it was different, and it was exciting, and it was a different way of telling stories. And as an old model agent, which I am, I don't want to see jobs being taken away from models, but there is a person and a team behind Shudu and the other avatars that he creates. So for me, it was interesting, and it's a new way of telling stories and making business. And I think that we're fearful in a lot of ways of AI and the things that are changing in the world, but I try to look for the good and the opportunity and the white space and what we can do and the new ideas. And, I could go on forever about new ideas. I'm an Aquarius and I'm like out there trying new things, which I think is why I probably needed to leave the modeling agency I was at. I was like, I'm gonna get out there. So I don't know if these guys, it's the right place anymore, but when you have new ideas, I think we need to follow those and figure out what it could be. And some of them are going to work and some of them aren't, but at least we'll have tried, right?
I totally love it. And of course, you explained that networking is everything. And I
Everything.
definitely agree with it. And that's how I build my platform and my
Yeah.
podcast and all that. But also, like, at my stage, I get overwhelmed with all the creator programs because I'm in a TikTok creator program and Facebook creator program. I know there is Snapchat creator program, which they try to get me on. And all the other creator programs, like, I don't know where to even like, and I worked with Amazon Live and Amazon.
Yes,
So some
that's its own
creators
beast.
do really well with just Amazon and Amazon Lives. And I did too when I had a contract with them for some period of time. But like, I get overwhelmed with all the things that are happening.
That's very fair. And I think also knowing when you need to add teammates to your team to be able to help you manage these things and to start with like assistants and things and to start on with contract people to help you do it because you just can't do it all. And I see one of the first things to offload is editing, like like give that to somebody. Just let somebody else do it. Unless you love, love, love it, like send it to somebody else to do it as you get busier. Or like bring on somebody to help you post and to put together like copy that sounds like you and make sure it's on brand and make sure you work very closely together or have people answering DMs. And I know, again, this doesn't sound sexy, but there is a way to do this that it is that your voice is being um that your voice is that it's in your voice, I'll say. So build the team thoughtfully and make sure that you offload and start being able to have people help you. Like that is something that you need to do to be able to grow and to maintain these things. And also, if something doesn't work for you or feel right, like let it go. Like there's no reason to do Snapchat if that doesn't make sense to you for you, you know? And let it go and don't turn back. And that's okay. Like it's totally okay. So you don't have to do everything. Just figure out what works and what makes sense for your business.
Yeah, it's amazing. Also, data-driven decisions. How do you, using your socials and media analytics, define the right product that to develop and costly missteps?
So when you're developing your affiliate business, that's when you're understanding how you sell. Because at this point, when we're posting online, like brand partnerships, the algorithm is killing that. Anything that says hashtag ad is like, I don't know, it'll do 75% worse than something that's not hashtag ad. So it's hard to know what is going to convert. So the affiliate business, when you are working with LTK and you're looking at your creator dashboard, you can see what's converting. You can see, oh, well, knits from Nordstrom at $125 are doing really, really well. Maybe I should be working with brands that are at that price point and are converting like that. So then you can take that data and understanding and put it into your media kit when you're pitching brands or put it into part of your pitch on DM for brand partnerships. So then you can understand where, like, then you have something, you have data around what you're selling and who you should be working with. You could even pitch the brands that you're seeing convert on. So say you convert really well, I don't know, for Vince, then you're able to see that on the affiliates and go out and pitch. Maybe we should do like a sweater, a holiday sweater program with Vince, and you can DM them that we converted X amount of units, you know, last February, and we would love to be able to do this for you guys. So then you do that. Then you pitch that with data. And then based on the data and what you can find on your affiliate platform, that's when you understand what kind of product you should be selling or what you should potentially get into. If you can see consistently over time that you're converting at a under $100 price point, then when you're thinking about product and starting your own business, you probably shouldn't create product that's priced at $250 because you know that your follower and your customer is buying under $100. So it's really being thoughtful and drilling down into maybe not what your favorite, like you might not be a, you know, $40 girly that in your real life, like that might not be where you're shopping every day, but that might be where your customer is shopping. And you really need to consider them when you're building business and when you're building businesses to that you want them to respond to. Your customer is the most important person to think about when you're trying to figure out your business and your next step. And if you want to actually start a brand, if you want to bring your foundation of your social media into a brand, you really need to be thoughtful about them. You could eventually down the line develop a new customer, of course, but really starting with who the core customer is and to be thoughtful about that is really where you should start. I mean, I like starting businesses that start making money immediately. Like I'm very excited about making money and like making creators money and entrepreneurs making money. I think that's kind of the point of starting a business is making something that sells that you can do whatever with, whatever your goals are. So that's where I usually tell people to start is really understanding who your customer is, who the core customer is, and creating something for them. And then they get excited about that. And when you're then you enter into the capsule collections and things like that and find success there. Yes, you can try things that are different and teach your customer that how to buy and you moving into other things, but just remembering who the core people are that got your back and are following and are looking towards you and are being influenced by you, remembering that they're super important. And so let's give them what they want. And also asking them. Have a lot of conversation with followers online. Like, what do you want to see? What content do you want to see from me? And what product do you like to see from me? Or like, what do you want to learn more of? Do you want it highs and lows? Do you want, things that are appropriate on Amazon for back to school? Like, do you want that sort of information from me? We get a lot of like information from the followers by crowdsourcing and just asking them and not pretending we know everything either. I mean, knowing what you don't know is that you don't know something is really important, to ask what they want from you. It makes your follower, your customer, part of the process. And I think that they really enjoy that. And also knowing that you don't know everything. Like, I'm here to serve you guys. Like, what do you want? What do you want from me? Like, I think I know what you want, but I'm not totally positive. We've gone into design meetings of product before and not been sure what direction to go in, and actually have done like Instagram stories asking for real-time feedback and got really real-time feedback why we've been in design meetings. And that's like so fun. Brands can't usually do these sorts of things, but we can, as creators and as creator agents, we can do those sorts of things and we could give the people what they want. So why don't we,
That's so true. And sometimes creators don't know what to do, but asking your audience and interacting with your audience is everything they will tell you. And that kind of solves the problem.
That's right. And they might tell you more than you want to know. And
Yeah,
that's the other thing, is that you have to remember to like tune out negativity as well. So
it's so true. Thank you so
yeah.
much, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for being my guest.
Oh my
And
gosh,
where can
thank
our
you for
listeners?
having me.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been great. So anyway, if anybody wants to find me, we're at jenniferpowell.com. I'm launching a course called The Creator's Path to Product, which you can find at jenniferpowell.com/course. And really, it's to do these steps. There's a workbook and it gets into depth around getting into product and when you should. And you can follow us on Instagram at HelloJP Inc. and Creator's Path to Product.
Amazing. Thank you so much.